Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm Chris, and today I'm going to be potting up some succulents into these little mame pots. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, we're going to trim up the roots and trim up the tops of the trees here so we can fit them in the pot. Just going to go around and just kind of do the rough. Root pruning. Okay, that's good for that one. That's good for that one. This one kind of has a one-sided root here, so I'm just going to take it back a little bit. There we go. Last one of this variety. Okay. Now, bigger one here. That's probably good. Okay. So that gets that. That gets all the roots in order. I'm going to clean up my knife or my scissors here. Come back and do the tops. Okay, so with this one here, see, it's just kind of a straight trunk, nothing really interesting going on. So I'm just going to take this back a little bit. That one back a little bit. And I'm also going to be partially defoliating these as well, just to keep as much weight off the top of the tree as possible until it gets established in the new pot. So there we have it. So now I just left a couple of shoots on there, and then these little leaf stubs will fall off as they dry out. So there's one tree already. And then of course, these will grow from cuttings and leaf cuttings, so I'll keep all the viable leaf cuttings and plant these. I'll plant the cuttings basically where I took these from, in the same little planter that I grow all my succulents in. All right, so now let's go on to the next biggest golem jade here. Oh, Bart wants to help out. So I'm going to take off. There's a big straight section here. There's a big straight section here, right, where it's like small node, big node. So I'm going to take this off. Again, there's a small node and then a bigger node. So take that off. And then these ones kind of small, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm going to take it back right to here. Same thing on this one. You can see a series of small nodes and then a big long node, so I'll cut that back. And then I'm also going to be defoliating, especially the big leaves on the inside here, to keep the weight down as much as possible. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then again, I'll keep the viable cuttings off to the side, and I'll plant those and I'm just going to get rid of some of the super big leaves here just so I can clearly see what's happening. So again, we have a twin trunk here with, you know, some pretty long straight sections. I think there's a little bit of ramification starting up here, but I think I'd rather this trunk be shorter, so I'm going to prune it back to there. And then we got another split here. And I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to take the bigger trunk off, so that way there's a decent amount of taper between these two. And then with any luck, I'll get another shoot or two coming out this side, maybe one down here, and that will fill out the top of the canopy a bit better. But there, and then I'm not a big fan of this big straight section here, but the alternative would be reducing the entire tree back to a stump, and I don't think I do want to do that right now. So I'll leave it like that. And then again, I got a few nice big cuttings here. I'm just preparing these cuttings here so I don't have to do any more trimming. I can just go out and pop these in the flower bed after. Okay, so now moving on to these ones here. Now these ones are a bit more tricky. They all have a bit of a canopy forming, but as you can see, they're really tall and skinny, and they don't have a whole lot of roots, and I'm going to be putting them in really small pots. So I think, and you can see this one here too, it's kind of got a little bit of inverse taper going, so it's a little bit thinner here, and then it thickens up as it gets to here. So I think what will be the best route for this tree is if I cut it right about here where the inverse taper starts, and then I'll plant this as a cutting, and essentially get a much more compact tree. So I think I'll do that. And then I'm also going to reduce these back here. I'm just really taking it back to reduce the weight and get the canopy starting a somewhat of an umbrella canopy. Take out some of these interior leaves. And that's probably good to go ahead and plant in these little mame pots, and then I'll plant this one outside, and hopefully that'll regrow. That way I have a nice branching structure to plant in the pot rather than just a stick. Now this one doesn't have the same inverse taper problem. So I think this one is probably a better candidate to keep it as is. So I think what I can do is, you can see it goes 1 to 3 here, right? It goes from 1 to 3. So I think I'll just take out the middle one, the big thick one. Okay. And then I'll take these back. These back a bit. And then I'll plant that. And actually, I think I have enough of these tetragonas. I'm not going to really plant a whole bunch of these as cuttings. I think I'll plant this one, but not the rest of the smaller cuttings. So moving on to our final tree here that we got to trim up. So this one's got a real nice canopy forming. Again, you can see you go 1 to 3. I actually don't think that's such a bad thing here. See, if I take out the middle one, obviously, then that's basically the entire canopy. If I take out the either side one, then we got a kind of a lopsided canopy. So for now, I think I'm going to leave those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back the whole canopy to a much more compact kind of upright umbrella shape. Just kind of going across there and keeping everything kind of even. And then I think I'll actually take out the middle as well. Okay. Okay. Just again, removing a bunch of leaves to keep the weight down as much as possible. So I think that's it. So I will keep my actual trees over here to the side. I'll take away my cuttings and deal with the trimmings here. And then we'll come back. All right, so first up we have the little Crassula tetragona cutting. We're going to plant this in this little pot here. So we'll first pick the front of the pot. I'm thinking somewhere around here, kind of where the glaze looks the nicest. There's a couple of lines, so let's put it on either side. So somewhere around here, and the same thing in front of the tree. I think somewhere around there being the front, where this part comes forward, and then there's a branch either side that looks nice. So I'll go ahead and get some soil in the pot. And then I obviously don't need to tamp down the soil too crazily because there's no roots. So I just got to make sure that it's stable. Make sure that it's stable in the pot. Add a little more soil, and then we'll put a layer of gravel on top. So I have this kind of decorative gravel that I thought would look nice. The idea behind doing a bunch of little plantings like this is that you always have these succulent cuttings and you always grow new plants and you don't really know what to do with them. So I figured something I could do that'd be nice was to pot these up into little bonsai pots and give them away for gifts. So that's what I'll be doing this year for Christmas, is giving away um, some of these little bonsai pots. And I'm doing it a little bit in advance so that way they can get acclimated to the pot, grow in, and get nice and healthy and established, and grow some new foliage and stuff before Christmas, before I actually start giving them away. So here we have it. Here's the first little Crassula tetragona all potted up. I'm actually going to scoot it back a little more upright. There we go. So, oh, actually, there we go. I think that was better before. So here's the front of the tree. Going around to the side, back around to the front. All right, and then we'll move on to the next one. So next up, we have another tetragona, Crassula tetragona, and another little cream-colored pot. Again, first things first, kind of figure out where the front of the pot is. It kind of looks nice from an angle, so I'll just leave it. And then figure out where the front of the tree is. Again, this is a very simple kind of pruned down tree, so there's not really a whole distinction between front and back. I do like these two big roots here, so I can plant this kind of at root level to expose those. And I think that would make a nice front, so I'll kind of orient this as the front. So I'll get some soil in the pot. Center the tree. All right. Start working the soil into the roots. And we're a bit more, well, there's actually roots on this one compared to the last one, so trying to make sure that it's firmly planted in there. There's no big air pockets or anything. Okay. Just a tiny bit more soil. cover up those roots left here. Just to make sure want to make sure there's roots or there's contact with the soil all the way up to the surface level. Want to make sure, don't want to leave any big gaps or anything. So I want these surface roots to actually live. There we go. Now, for the soil topper, okay, so that's that one. And again, here it is. .360 view. And somewhere around here is the front. So I'll move on to the next one. So again, I think this is the front of the tree. So I'll try to figure out where the front of the pot is here. Let's say somewhere around here. So I'll try to orient it around that way. Some soil in the pot. And this is my standard bonsai mix, which is roughly 50-50 turfus and perlite. Turfus and pumice with a little bit of perlite. Straight leaf in there. Okay, again, because this one actually has some roots, just gonna make sure that it's planted firmly in there. All the roots have good soil contact. Okay, I think that's good. Now we'll go ahead and get some decorative gravel on the top. All right, and here is this one, all potted up and finished. A 360 view. And we'll move on to the next one. Alright, so again, just figuring out where the front of the pot is. Somewhere around there. The front of the tree. Somewhere around here. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and put the decorative gravel. Oh god, dang it. Alright, and here's this one. And there's the front, somewhere around there. Move on to the next one. Alright, so I got this one here. Move this. So again, you want to make sure that you're in the best side of the pot. And then I think there's a good front of the pot, and somewhere around there is also a good front for the tree. Or it's kind of on an angle so you can see the fork here and the fork in the back and the fork in the front all at the same time. I think that's pretty good. So get some soil in the pot. All right, and here it is. Here's the front, and to the side, and the back, and to the other side, and to the front again. So now I'll move on to the last one. Okay, so this last one here has this fancier pot. I think somewhere around there is probably a good front. Somewhere around here. I think this, I'm going to opt for this as the front. And then we have our twin trunk tree to go in here. I need to do a little bit of additional root pruning just to make it fit. Okay. All right, I think that's good. Getting filling this pot up with soil. Go ahead and begin working my soil in. All right, now I'll get some more decorative gravel. All right, so here is the finished tree. So I'll give you a 360 view. All right, there we have it. All right, so here you have my collection of little Mame succulents. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like on the video, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications, share the channel or the video with your friends, that kind of thing. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.